Sawadee Cup and welcome to another party of the Funkit Pod. It's time for another academic corner. We didn't do this in a little bit now because if you follow the rest of the show, you know, life has caught up. But now that things settle down a little bit more, I can pay more attention to the academic corner again. And semester started this past week. So hey, now I have actually lots of things to talk about since now my first two classes have passed by. The third class didn't happen yet because Friday was a public holiday where I usually have the third class. So two classes have passed, and I can share a little bit of like what I tried to do, what actually happened, and so on. So my first class that I had is one of my favorite. I mean, I like all of my classes, obviously, but it's the class that I started from scratch, where I built the syllabus by myself and so on, and didn't have to take over anything existing. I just built everything by myself, which is called Digital Strategies. And yeah, it's about digital marketing too, but also like about digital transformation and so on. I try to like add a few things from different walks of the digital life so that students are just well equipped and know what's going to happen in different areas of the digital landscape, so to speak. Okay, so now my plan for this semester is, as I mentioned before, I try to use the design thinking approach a little bit more in the class setting. So it's not just me lecturing for 3 hours because class sessions in Thailand are very often 3 hours, which is insane. So yeah, that's that. So now the first class, of course, was a little bit like more introduction heavy, but then what my plan will be moving forward is I'll post short instructional videos, like 15, 20 minutes max, to our communication channel. We're using MS Teams here. And then I expect them that they have a week time to watch those until we have the next class. So it's a self-paced learning there on those short videos, and I expect everyone to have watched it. And then I can build up on that in our actual class session, which then will be more design thinking based, like more active. So everybody's now got a project to work on. Some do some actual academic research, some work on some web projects, other work on like digital marketing campaigns, whatever they picked, okay? And so we will then now add some layers with those instructional videos every class. Like, for example, for this upcoming class, I talked a little bit about KPIs and so on. They should have learned it before, so it's just a few refreshers. What are KPIs? Why do we need them? What kind of KPIs do we have? And what are we doing in order to increase the reach, for example? I talked a little bit about CRO, conversion rate optimization. I introduced this a little bit before we go into more detail in one of the following classes. So just like the groundwork of like getting traction, basically. So now that I expect them to have watched it, and then I can build up on it. So meaning we're starting the class and say, okay, go into your groups. We have whiteboards. We are in an active learning classroom, so we have whiteboards everywhere. People can just move their chairs around, and then we can get started in a more creative way, hopefully. And so now in the next class, I would expect them to work on their projects and then come up with like leads, KPIs, and so on for their respective projects while we're working on it. And those projects are real projects, so they have real impact. So either like real campaigns, real websites, real events, whatnot. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. So I think, how did it go this past week? So I think, well, the intro class was more intro heavy, so I had to explain this, what I just did explain here. I had to explain this to the students, which seemed to be okay. And in the last 30, 45 minutes, we actually worked on the whiteboard and tried to come up with a few ideas just so that they get used to this iterative working process. I told them to just pick any issue that you see right now and fix it. Very broad, but I just wanted them to start being creative. So they picked some picked societal issues, some picked like some marketing issues that they talked about in another class before, a business issue, and then just put it on the whiteboard and try to talk about it. Then I try to explain, okay, cool, you have an issue, you come up with a few ideas, and now let's go into detail. Let's pick one idea, be more specific about that idea. And once you're more specific then, you have a few bullet points for that idea. Pick one bullet point, because they're all bullet pointed for some reason, and then go into more detail there again. So I try to explain this iterative process a little bit. I think everybody got it. Everybody who was there got it. And I hope we can use this knowledge now moving forward in the next class to be really active and then work on what we really want to work on. Now, what didn't work well was it took a little bit to explain that. Like when I said, okay, let's work in groups, for example, go to their whiteboards if you want to. No one got up. They all just stayed in their groups. I mean, they turned their chairs to each other, but then just like on their phone or on their iPads, and maybe they scribbled something, but not really like, I had to force them to kind of go to the whiteboards and so on. And I try to explain this because like when you move and you get up and you stand, you're more creative than when you're just sitting and staring at your iPad, for example. Right? So move around, do something, go outside. It's fine to eat something, drink something, but just keep working. And so that took a little bit. And the students all came super, not all, like 2/3 of the class came late. And about 5 or 6 students just didn't bother to show up because it's the first of the semester, no one cares. So I actually had to implement some attendance check, which I usually don't want to do, but just to put some pressure on those who didn't come, which really annoyed me. A similar thing happened in the second class. The second class is a morning class, so people are always late for morning classes for some reason. Like I have to wake up early too. To wake up 30 minutes earlier and be on time. Damn it! So only half the class showed up because again, intro class, don't need it. Blah blah. I guess that's the reason why. In my previous class, by the way, students begged me, like it's limited to 40 seats. Students begged me to let them in, and then they're not showing up on time. And you wonder why I don't let you in. Second class, then there are supposed to be like 25 students in class. 12 or 13 or so showed up, which is like ridiculous, which got me quite mad. So I will also implement maybe not attendance check, but heavy quizzing in that class, of course. Let me know if there's anything better. If that happens to you, like what you're going to do. Students just don't show up. I get it that they thought it's just an intro class or whatever, not missing much, but no, we should know better. You missed like the whole setup, the group building, the team building, the finding the topics, the how do we work in this class, what's happening in this class. You missed all that, and I'm not going to repeat it. So congratulations for messing up, and you're probably already out of. It's going to be hard to get like an A now, right? Just because you didn't show up. Yeah, that's not smart. That's not smart. What do you guys do if you're in academics? What do you do if this happens with students? Like, what do you do? Do you punish them, or do you just say whatever and move on? I'm curious to hear that. Okay, yeah, that's about it. For this week? Because again, it's the first week of classes, so not much yet. No assignments to do. No drama just yet. What's kind of weird was it's like the first time that we're back at 100% on-site courses in like 2 years. So when I came to campus, it was so crowded. Like even before COVID, I've never seen it that crowded on campus before. I didn't even eat on any of our canteens on campus because it was just too crowded. So I just got something from a convenience store and ate it in my office because it was just so crowded and it just felt like really weird. It's like you have to like squeeze like in those queues and stuff. So I felt a bit weird. Let me know how you feel now that your semester's probably also started already. Let me know how you feel with like the whole on-site being amongst people again. I just hesitated because it just popped to my head. What also was weird was teaching in the classroom and then wearing a mask again, wearing a mask while teaching. Like talking is so exhausting for 3 hours if you wear a mask. And then in my second class, the battery of the microphone died, so I had to speak really loud to make sure everyone gets what I'm saying. I'm still tired 3 days later. I forgot how exhausting teaching in the classroom actually can be. But I'm happy to be back because it definitely is way more fun than just talking online into a camera. All right, let me know how your first weeks went, what your experiences are, and I promise I'll add some more academic flavor into the Funky Pod now, and we'll keep doing this on a weekly basis because I also have some research and something that I try to pull off, and let's see if we can pull it off. It's very vague right now, but I'll go into more detail next time because maybe I have some news there. Before I finish now, this just popped to my head from an academic point of view. So I got invited to a conference to speak there and to also receive an award there, which is nice. I appreciate that. So I told my faculty about it. I'm like, hey guys, does the faculty kind of support me there with like budget maybe, because we haven't done anything in like 2.5 years, so there should be some budget left, right? So the only budget, the budget wouldn't even cover the registration fee. It would cover like 2/3 of the registration fee, and then I would have to pay everything else. I would have to pay like the rest of the registration fee. I would have to pay like airfare. I would have to pay like accommodation. I would have to pay for everything except like 2/3 of the registration fee, which is kind of like I don't want to complain too much, but I thought maybe the faculty is going to be like, yeah, A, we haven't done this in forever now, sending someone somewhere. B, it's an international conference, so it's like lots of eyes on us. And you get rewarded on stage. Maybe you could show off like our faculty, our university. Could be like a PR thing for us. I'm going to be in the magazine, right, printed in there. I'll have some stage time with a mic. I could like shout out our university / faculty and so on. So maybe you could use some PR budget for that as well, but no one thinks or wants to follow the train of thought, unfortunately. So that's rather unfortunate. And now I'm left with like, what I'm going to do. Like, do I say, no, I'm not going there? Or do I say, okay, I'll try to find another way, maybe by a sponsor. If you want to sponsor me, I'll shout out you instead of my faculty. I don't know, what would you do? How are we going to do that? Like my colleague suggested, he said, like, he now always looks at the cost of the registration and the flights and everything before he even like submits anything to a conference. But do I want to do that? Then do I only go to cheap conferences? Or do I want to go to the conferences that actually matter and that have impact? And then if they're a bit more expensive, like, okay, I mean, see, if my faculty would say we pay like 80%, 70% of the whole thing, I'm like, yeah, cool, I pay the rest, of course. But right now, the faculty would pay like 30%, and I pay the rest. So how do you do it? If you're like an academic, how do you do this usually? How do you handle this? And it would even be like only over like a long weekend, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so I'm not even missing any actual work time. Let me know what you would do in the situation. I'm really curious. I don't know what to do. I'm quite stuck there. So shout out and let me know your thoughts. Maybe you made it work before. You have better ideas than me. That would be cool to hear. So as always, thanks for joining the Academic Corner. I hope those insights or just sharing a little bit with you is something that helps. Looking forward to hearing from you. On social media, it's @funkitpod. Email is funkitpod@gmail.com. Please do like, share, subscribe to this thing here if you enjoy it. Rate it or wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. That would be nice. And, well, I hope you had a good start into the semester. Let me know how everything is going. And I hope we talk and maybe even see each other rather soon. Until then, stay well, take care. Sawadee Krap.